So shortly after the situation where I was molested by my stepdad, we moved away from him. And in junior high, so I was always the nerd, the geeky kid when I was, when I was young. I was super skinny, geeky, awkward. And then all of a sudden I decided, I was like, I made this conscious effort. I'm going to change this. I don't like this. I started sort of watching, girls that I thought were popular and like, what am I going to do? How am I going to like do my hair differently? And I made this conscious transformation on my own. I became a cheerleader in, 8th grade. And so junior high was actually good. I actually developed this group of friends, these girls that were cheerleaders that became like sisters to me. And so that was actually a really good time in my life. The time that's usually terrible for most kids was actually a good time for me. And so I really loved, 8th, 9th, 10th grade. And then we moved to a new town at the end of my 10th grade year when I was very developed, and life at home was terrible, but I at least had these girls to rely on. And now I've got no one. And the kids that teased me for the way I looked, but in a loving way, I lost that. Now the kids that teased me, it was more in a bullying way. And I was literally bullied for the way I looked in high school, just for being overdeveloped. And it was such a weird thing to go from being this kid who was sort of not seen when she was really young, because I was that geeky, awkward kid, to this kid who now can't get away from this attention, but it wasn't positive attention. Yeah. And so it was really hard. And I became very withdrawn again.
Right. So
I would just walk through school with my books, over my chest and not talk to anybody.
Yeah. So now did it force you to be an introvert now? Are you back to being introverted, back at home and away from, being around the other kids your age, or, what did that look like?
There's this sort of dichotomy that was going on because I was very introverted when I was out. But after the situation that happened with my stepfather, I did sort of learn to use my voice to protect myself, but not in a positive way. So before I ever found balance, which took a long time and, for me to figure out how to use my voice in a proactive way that was balanced, I'd say I used it more as a weapon. So if someone did get too close to me, I was like, I could be pretty caustic. So I was introverted, but if you got too close or if you did something that I thought was going to be potentially harmful, I could be pretty vicious.
Okay.
So it was a really hard time, a hard way to try to live your teen years.
But a protective mechanism that you had to create because of your history.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, so now fast forward, I just start to think I'm getting my life together in my early 20s. And then I was diagnosed with cancer. And so dropped out of school, quit my job. And while I'm going through radiation treatments, my mother had brain surgery. And I went through this wicked depression. So I lose everything. And so it sort of culminates too, because right the same month that I found out I had cancer, I had just been accepted. I'd tested and been accepted as a Playboy centerfold. Now, I know that sounds like, why, it seemed like, why would I go down that road if I didn't like all this attention? But like I said, I started to think that was the validation I needed. It's like I needed that validation, even though I didn't like it, but I really needed the money. So I was going to use that money to go to school. And then all of a sudden I lost everything. And the one thing that I thought I was valued for, which was my appearance, I'm losing while I'm going through these cancer treatments.
So that's your identity. So you basically your looks became your identity.
They did.
And then all of a sudden, here comes cancer, and now you're starting all over again, basically.
I am. And the friends I had also developed during that time were around that world. Yeah. So guess where those friends went when I was not able to be a part of that world anymore? I lost all of that.